My grandfather, Frank Pop O'Heron, was a fiddler. He liked to play the songs that I will feature on my program tonight. Soldier's Joy and Sally Goodin. That last song, that's one of my favorites. My grandfather had a very positive influence on my life and work ethic. Today is July 22nd, 2009. You'll see a picture of my grandfather. His name was Frank Pop O'Heron. He married two Winsted women. He was one from Torrington. My grandfather was a second-generation American. His ancestors came from Ireland, and Frank spoke with a slight Irish brogue. I can still hear it to this day. He was raised on his parents' farm at the top of Highland Avenue in Torrington, Connecticut, as was my father. Frank was called Pop by a member of his family, and I never even knew his real name till much later in life. As a youth, in addition to his farm duties, my grandfather learned to fiddle and jig when he was young. He held the fiddle on his knee, like they did in the old days, when he played. He also sang and wrote songs. Tonight you have heard and will hear at the end of the program a few fiddle tunes that he liked to play. You have already heard Sally Goodin and Soldier's Joy, two very well-known songs, and you will hear at the end of the program Sally Ann, Home Sweet Home, and Put Your Little Foot Right Out, as a picture of his great-great-granddaughter, Imogene, is displayed as she is beginning to walk. She's not quite there yet, but you'll see a picture of her pushing a little cart along as she walks. My grandfather drove a horse-driven wagon. He was an original teamster, and later a truck when he delivered coal, wood, and later oil for the Prince Company and then the E.J. Kelly Company of Torrington, Connecticut until his retirement. In the early days, as he drove his horses and wagon along long distances to pick up the coal and wood and deliver it, he would often fiddle or write and sing songs to his customers' delight. You will also see a picture tonight that I showed once before on the program about a year ago at my great-grandfather, William R. McGrain, 50th wedding anniversary. That's taken on Pratt Street. The house is still there in Winsted, Connecticut. My great-grandfather sold land to Tony Canavo's grandfather, and they established a nursery there many, many years ago. In those days, the Irish community of both Torrington and Winston intermingled socially at dances and such. My grandfather eventually met, courted, and married Catherine McGrain, the daughter of William R. McGrain, the Civil War veteran from Winsted, Connecticut. Catherine was a widow and the mother of one child. Together, Frank and Catherine had 4 children. My father was the youngest. If my father was alive today, he would be 98. When Catherine eventually died at a relatively young age, Frank married another Winsted woman, Mary Burke. She was called Mame. They had no children, but were very happy together. Frank passed away when I was about 13 years old. I remember him as an easygoing, kind person that fiddled and jigged and was happy and content with his station in life. He gave others pleasure while living through some pretty tough times. He is buried in a Torrington cemetery with no headstone. I'm going to place one there. Listen to this music and see my little granddaughter starting to learn how to walk. Sally Ann and Home Sweet Home. And for my granddaughter and Frank's great-granddaughter, Imogene, who's just learning how to walk, put your little foot right out. Thanks, Pop, for teaching me the joy of the fiddle and banjo and to enjoy the lighter side of life.